Shalom to you. It's a thrill to be here. Wayne, Ann, all of you, seeing some old friends around, some new friends. I am really thrilled. Principally because, truth be known, I'm really not representing me. I stand as a representative of a cadre of Messianic Jews, a variety, a number, that have come together to produce a joint venture version of the Bible. Dave Stern, if you're familiar with the complete Jewish Bible, the Jewish New Testament, told me when we had Shabbos dinner the other night, when he put in for this, it was hard to get anybody to work together to do anything, never mind to find a publisher. There was a woman, Danya Greenberg, and her husband, Rabbi Mark Greenberg, who conceived this. It's easy to stand up and, the project manager and all the rest, and to think that he's really the principal. What I'm going to do this evening is share from a dream that was birthed in the heart of a woman who thought, gee, what would the world look like if you can get a bunch of Messianic Jewish rabbis and scholars to work together? And let me tell you, that's a really ambitious request. Especially if you add doctorate on top. Yeshua, Jesus talked about shepherding as comparing it to, shepherding leading sheep. But trying to lead scholars is like trying to lead cats. And everybody's got ideas. And you add Jewish scholars on top, a bunch of PhD-ities is what I call them. Everybody's up there on Olympus and has ideas about the way the world ought to be. And how on God's earth can you get people to work together to do something? Well, let me tell you a little bit about the industrial side of what's involved in fulfilling Danya's vision, and then I have the opportunity to open it up and share from it. On the industrial side, Danya got a board together that was made up of members of all the major Messianic umbrella organizations. We have our clusters, the Union of Messianic Jewish Congregation, the Messianic Jewish Alliance, this and that, and got a board together made up of everyone from them. And the board developed key principles for some foundational issues associated with the manufacture of a Bible that everyone could conceivably weigh in on, participate in, etc. Then came the task of finding translators. Dick Averbeck, a professor, the head of the PhD program at Trinity University, rolled out certain requirements that he thought would be appropriate for translators. The task was to fill these various slots. It's amazing the way individuals rolled up their sleeves to get to it. The Genesis text that I'm going to read from this morning was translated principally by Seif Pastel, a brilliant Messianic Jewish scholar, PhD out of Golden Gate Seminary in San Francisco, I believe, professor here at Israel College of the Bible, a brilliant Hebrew scholar. The text that he translates is then sent off to a text manager. That we don't work alone. A text manager is someone who works a particular section of the literature. The text manager for the Torah is a Messianic rabbi, Jeffrey Adler. What happens is that this translated text is worked over and conversated over between Rabbi Adler and Dr. Pastel. Then it goes to a theology committee. When the text manager is satisfied, he has a read that he can live with, that he wants to present. Then a theology committee that's made up of a variety of theologians. Ray Gannon is one of them. And by the way, Dr. Gannon is one of the best kiddies in the Messianic Jewish litter. That's the God's honest truth. Ray Gannon has had his hands and heart in everything. I could just spend 45 minutes talking about him. Dr. Gillen, a brilliant scholar, took a PhD here out of Hebrew University after working his way to and through Princeton University for a graduate degree on top. A real lover of the Lord and the Jewish people. Well, Ray Gannon is on that committee, another Elliot Clayman, who took a degree from Harvard University. Elliot's a retired professor out of Ohio State, and he's a principal, a leader in what's called the Jewish Theological Institute. Rich Robinson's on the theology committee, took a PhD out of Westminster Seminary in the East Coast of the United States, working with the group Jews for Jesus. There are others as well. The point is, they all worked under Eric Tokajer, the chair of the theology committee. What happens is documents, translated text goes to that committee, they work through it, they critically reflect on it, and then send it back to the text manager with their reflections. The text manager works it out in accordance with that committee, and by the way, I didn't mention, in conversation with our literary editor, Dr. Glenn Blank is a retired professor out of Lehigh University in Pennsylvania. He's a Messianic rabbi, brilliant with the English language. He has his hands in the process all the while. Well, the text manager gets this document back after the theos have worked on it and nuances it, and then sends it off for another set of eyes, what we call our language expert. Some time back, I made the acquaintance some years ago with a woman, and Helen Delaire is not a Jewish woman. She is an evangelical Christian woman that just fell in love with the Lord and fell in love with the Lord's people, the Jewish people, fell in love with Israel. By way of Oral Roberts University, Helen felt called to go to Hebrew Union College and take a PhD in Semitic languages. If you don't know, Hebrew Union College it's the academic center of American modern Judaism, Reform Judaism. It's their training school. Helen went there. A non-Jew went to this Jewish religious school and got a PhD in the language. And she came and was in Israel, and Hebrew Union College called her back and asked if she would join the faculty to teach Hebrew. A non-Jewish woman, an evangelical Christian woman, teaching rabbis how to speak the language. I think that's fascinating. Well, the Lord had Helen there for a number of years, and then she went on to Denver Seminary to head up a Master Divinity program in Messianic Jewish Studies. I asked Helen if she'd be our language expert, and what happens is, as this literature, as this sacred text makes its way through the process, we want someone else with another set of eyes to alight upon it, critically reflect on it, and then kick it back to the text manager. So we have these various processes. I liken it to a car wash where the car goes in and it's hit by various brushes and washes and swabs and what have you, and then it's dried off and it comes out the other end. The purpose here was to present a Bible translation that restored the Jewishness of the text. And what we wanted was the Messianic Jewish community that now is at a place where a number of individuals have been able to, respond to the call of God to go into the ministry, to go to seminary, to get the requisite language skills, and now have the opportunity to then present together a common voice in what we want to say about the Scriptures. This is particularly significant in the way that we render the New Covenant. All too long, as you may well know, the Bible story, the Jesus story, is construed so very much as non-Jewish. And it's tragic to me that the Jesus story is a Jewish story through and through, but with the passage of time and circumstance, people lost sight of the Jewish roots. And what happens is what becomes a Jewish story becomes un-Jewish and anti-Jewish, and gone is the memory. Well, the name of the game was to work the text collectively in a way that can help bring that out, not just with the text itself. One of the distinguishing characteristics is the artwork itself. We wanted to it was Danya's vision, who has a real heart for art. She wanted a Bible that an eighth grader could comprehend, in the way the language is spelled out and in the way that there's art to embellish, to help people to envision, to retell the Bible story from a Jewish perspective. In any case, as I'd said, I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm not here as an extension of my own vision, but rather my own participating in Donya's, to tell you the truth. And it's amazing how the Lord gives visions to people to do things. Donya wasn't raised in the Jewish world. She accepted the Lord and fell in love with the Jewish people and married a rabbi. She could say to herself, who am I to even conceive something as ambitious as this? Furthermore, she's not an academic. She's educated, took a bachelor's degree, but not in theology or ministry. She could disqualify herself in her own mind, saying, not only am I not able by birth and generation to be able to even talk about something like this, I don't have the pedigree that anybody's going to take me seriously. Dan Juster, who is in effect the Rambam, the Maimonides of our movement, a sage, told me at dinner a few nights ago, he said he remembered when Donya came over and presented to Tikkun, and they prayed over her, there was a spirit of prophecy. It was birthed by the Lord, not by power, not by might. So many times we disqualify ourselves thinking, well, I really can't do that. It's like the guy that sees the pretty girl and he wants to talk to her and he just gets spooked before he starts. Or so many times we just talk ourselves out. We're going to look in the Genesis text now, and there you find early on, V'ruach Elohim merchefet al panei hamayim, the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. Early on in Genesis, there's a story about nothingness and choshech, darkness, what individuals refer to as chaos and void. We're told, Bereshit bara elim hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And one encounters a God in the literature that just brings life out of nothingness, that he creates. And truth be known, Donya, it would be easy for her to be talked out of the vision that was in her. But I liken her to inasmuch as Golda Meir managed to get all these Jewish generals together to fight a war instead of each other. In so many ways, it was Donya who conceived the vision, and the Lord just, caused a bunch of pushy guys like myself to get behind it. And as I get up here and teach from the Tree of Life Bible, for the first time, opening up the Genesis text, I want to give all credit to the Lord, but I don't want to steal anything that's really due to somebody else as the primary visionary. And so the Bible says, thou shalt not steal. So I wanted to make very clear to all of you that though I'm represented as the manager, etc., it's the manager, it's participating in stewarding in a vision that was cast initially by somebody else. And I'm just proud to get behind